Hi again. This is a little addendum to the Ai Weiwei discussion. Now, I kind of left it hanging, like going, ooh, what are they doing to this artist guy? He's really rad, and he comes from a dad who was a poet who was imprisoned for his beliefs. Like, why would I feel funny or have any reservations about this wonderful multimedia conceptual artist's work? Well, and what am I getting into some weirdo uh, ideas about what they're doing to this guy? But I invite you to read the article, think for yourself about it. Basically, I left it as why is this guy, within months he's transformed from a Chinese conceptual artist into a global symbol of resistance. What he's getting at is the question. He's saying the question on everyone's mind is left unanswered. Why is he, the question being, why is the entire Western foreign policy apparatus mobilized for him within hours, while thousands of other Chinese artists, Tibetan monks, Uyghur intellectuals, and billionaires get detained and imprisoned every year and oftentimes killed with total silence from these very same Western governments? So, yeah, I'll give you the punchline here. Kettles asserts that the answer is simple. Ai Weiwei is protected and used by Western governments to manipulate the Western people. His price points and global fame are manufactured. He's promoting long lost Western values. In other words, Western values that are supposedly Western but are not enacted anymore, that are not real anymore. Uh, he's rallying the Western normies, the sheeple, so to speak, against a common enemy named communism, and in the process, distracting those normies from the fact that freedom, capitalism, and democracies are nowhere to be found in the Western world. In other words, panem et circenses, bread and circuses. So that's a pretty bold assertion. I thought it was worth passing on to you. Um, he again also goes into uh, many more examples, including Jean Michel Basquiat and Mark Rothko and Raphael, the famous Renaissance painter Raphael. And it's interesting. I'll say that. It's really a harsh thing to have to think about because for most of us, art is honestly a luxury. Pursuing your own art is a luxury. The time it takes to come up with, create, and get the skill set to create art that you can be proud of is frankly a luxury in our modern world. And hey, back in the Renaissance times too. So when you think of the fact, or if you accept the fact, then I'm not asking you to accept the fact, accept it as fact, but if you consider what this guy's saying, which is that cultural icons are exploited for their propaganda value, essentially, then it's pretty daunting. In other words, I busted my butt to make this art, and the best I can hope for is to be um, a famously manipulated person, or a famous person who helps the elites manipulate the masses or something. So that's possible. I don't know what you think about it, but I still assert that whether you become successful as an artist or not, if you keep making art and refuse to get bummed out by whatever your circumstances are, you are probably more powerful and less manipulable and less available to be used as a tool by somebody else if you just refuse to stop making art and stop enjoying yourself. And it's already today. I saw for the first time a T-shirt that you can buy on Etsy. It was featured in the front page of Etsy on Father's Day gifts ideas. Joy is an act of resistance, and it's in a way it could be said, yeah, somebody probably did a print on has a print on demand shop, and it's on a print on demand T-shirt. But to me, that does not necessarily make it irrelevant or untrue. I still, the optimist in me still says, if you can't be daunted, if your joy cannot be suppressed, that is an act of resistance, Etsy shirt or no. So I hope again this finds you inquiring minds. Your mind is inquiring, and your hands are making art, something like that. Take it easy, and thanks for being here. Bye.